Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Advance, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, we got some big news for y'all today. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel, and be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So, as you guys know, about 2 to 3 days ago, we produced a show that was centered on a moment that took place on ESPN First Take, where they had Gilbert Arenas, Tracy McGrady, and Jay Williams and these guys. And Jay Williams is essentially kind of drawing, like, he was kind of trying to paint a picture about something, and he used one of Max Kellerman's sayings, and then Stephen A. Smith had this kind of like disgusted look on his face, so we did a show about that, right? And I'm always kind of been on the lookout for what's happening with Max. Always curious, is Max coming back? Is Max coming? Because I like Max Kellerman. Some people didn't like him. They thought he probably was a hot take artist or whatever, but I thought Max was pretty cool. And Max made a lot of fans, especially after he had that situation with Stephen A. Smith, Terrell Owens on ESPN First Take, right? But over the last year or two, man, we haven't heard anything from Max ever since his departure from ESPN First Take, and ultimately his departure from ESPN after that series of cord cutting that they did. So I was shocked to hear today that Max Kellerman is officially making his return to sports media. We had heard about it. We had produced shows about it. We even did a show about the last episode of Around the Horn. They were talking about Max Kellerman's absence from there. So to hear that now he's officially back in a real capacity, it shocked a lot of us. So we actually got an image here that we want to show you guys that was posted on Instagram from the account Source Boxing, and I want to put it up right here. It says he's back. It says Source Boxing, Max Kellerman will officially return to boxing on September 13th as part of the broadcast team for Canelo versus Crawford. And I'm like, well, looks like Max Kellerman is back, and this is the story that we want to get into. But before we even get into this report here, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. PrizePicks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least 2 for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week on PrizePicks, I'm looking at the upcoming NBA schedule and selecting Stephen Curry for more than 29 points and Kevin Durant for more than 27 points and Anthony Davis for more than 12 rebounds and Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love PrizePicks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into this read here that I got here from BarrettMedia.com. It then continues on. Max Kellerman makes broadcasting return for Canelo Crawford fight on Netflix. Max Kellerman is returning to sports of boxing for one of the biggest fights in recent memory. On Sunday afternoon, UFC President Dana White introduced Kellerman as part of the broadcast team for the upcoming Canelo Alvarez fight against Terence Crawford on September 13th. In Las Vegas. It has been roughly 2 years since Max Kellerman was let go by ESPN, and he was appreciative of the opportunity to call this fight on Netflix in September. This is a perfect storm. I cannot be more excited to be a part of it, said Max Kellerman during a press conference on Saturday. The 51-year-old Kellerman was one of ESPN's signature boxing voices for more than a decade, serving as an analyst for Friday Night Fights. Later, he would go on to co-host First Take and was also lead on host Around the Horn. Moreover, Kellerman was among several prominent on-air personalities laid off by ESPN during a round of company-wide budget cuts back in June of 2023. Nick Khan is one of the best in the business. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. It's his first ever boxing promotion, so that's behind. What you're going to see now. The broadcast of Alvarez and Crawford will make Kellerman's first major return to sports broadcast spotlight since his ESPN departure. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport, said White when introducing Kellerman to those in the attendance. And for the fight itself, the matchup between Alvarez, a four-division world champion, and Crawford, an undefeated three-division champion, is one of the most anticipated in recent boxing history. In addition, the event will serve as Netflix's first major leap into broadcasting live professional boxing. I don't think you understand what a big deal this is, Kellerman said at the press conference. This is a perfect storm. First of all, Turkey, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things there as well. So what are my thoughts about this? First of all, I'm extremely excited to have Max Kellerman back into the sports media world, right? Because I think he was dearly missed. Number two, Max was pretty good at what he did. And he is a savant when it comes to analyzing and talking about boxing. So to see that he's coming back within his comfort zone is great. The third thing I like is what Dana White said. Dana White gave him his flowers there, right? He said he's the best boxing analyst that we have out there. It's good. Because to be frank with you, Max Kellerman has been poo-pooed on a lot over the last few years by his former host and Stephen A. Smith when he essentially went on his diss tour, man. On the Joe Budden podcast, on I think it was on Hot 97, Power 105.1. He went on all of these different shows and he was throwing Max under the bus. Max ain't bringing nothing to the table, blah, 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 blah. So to see Max Kellerman return the way that he is, and to be in his element and to get the respect that he's getting, and then to be working with a platform like Netflix is great. And I hope he continues to go on and do wonderful things. I hope he's able to showcase his talents, in case some people have forgotten. Now, do I think that this will probably segue into Max coming back on television? I don't know, right? I don't know. I said at the time that when FS1 was looking for personalities to go after Skip Bayless's departure, Shannon Sharp's departure, I said they should look in the direction of Max Kellerman, but probably they wanted to do something different. I don't know. But in terms of his return, I am happy for him. Some people didn't like Max for some of his views. Look, Max has some crazy Kobe Bryant views, right? But that doesn't take away from the fact that he's good at his job, right? Some people didn't like Max Kellerman for his political views, whatever. The guy's still talented. He's sharp as a whip. Like, the dude is super smart. We can all tell that. There's no question about that. There's no arguing that. He can articulate himself with the best of them out there. So he deserves to be back working and doing well for himself. I'm not a hater like that where it's like, nah, you shouldn't be earning money. Nah, you should be out there earning money. Even though I'm not a fan of, I may not be a fan of a particular person, but I'm not going to stand in the way of them making money and being able to feed themselves and their families. Nah. So this is fantastic news, and I look forward to Max Kellerman doing a fantastic job going forward, especially with this event that they have here with Netflix. So the question to the audience is simply this. First of all, what are your initial thoughts about Max Kellerman's return? Number two, do you think he's going to do well covering this fight? And number three, do you think this will lead to bigger and better things for him? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.